The 2019 general elections is around the corner, and political permutations indicates that there are going to be a lot of movement from one party to the other. Some political analysts have also come out to say that there should be political movement, but politicians should be more, embedded with ideology rather than personal interest. A couple of hours ago, some senators and some House of Rep members defected from the ruling APC to the opposition PDP and other parties. What are the implications? What are the likely implications of all of this as we prepare for the 2019 general elections? Will it affect the ruling APC? How far will the PDP go with all of this movement? Now, to do justice to this topic and lots more, I have two gentlemen in the building today. And close to my right is Mr. Max Ogar. He is a legal practitioner and also a political analyst. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Mr. Payo.
Yeah, and from my right is Van de Fan James. Thank you, a political analyst. Thank you for finding time to be here today.
It's my pleasure.
All right, very quickly, let me take you on this. The governor of Benue State, has just jumped ship. He has moved to the opposition People's Democratic Party. Were you surprised when you heard of this news?
Well, thank you. I wasn't surprised when I heard that he has moved from APC to PDP. The reason has been that for the past 3 weeks or so, there have been issues of back and forth between him and the ruling people's the party in power. He is the governor, but he has not been so comfortable, according to him, with the settings in the APC, mostly as regards the state executive that has been formed. So he was afraid, and nobody knew why the fear suddenly came in. And he has never been so comfortable with that, and there have been a lot of confrontations between him and Akume, and so many things on social media. So we're all expecting that he's going to move. But nobody expected him to go to PDP, but we were shocked to see that he has gone there today. So it is not surprising he has gone. It's not also too surprising that he has joined PDP, because that's a party that is on the ground also. So I think it is entirely his decision, but I think nobody will be surprised that he has gone.
But we also had some political dramas, playing out yesterday from, that part of this country, talking about Benue State, where the Speaker of the House, the State House, was impeached, and then the stories that were making the rounds on social media indicates that he was impeached because he's not in the same camp with the government. How true is that position?
Well, that is the situation, yes. The Speaker was impeached yesterday by 20 members. And the allegation has always been that the Speaker is not loyal to the governor. He hardly can pick his course. He cannot come to him to consult. He doesn't carry the House to support what the governor is doing. But these are mere allegations to justify why the Speaker must go. They are not verifiable. We have not been able to investigate them to see whether they are true or not. I've not been too close to the Speaker or the governor, but I just watched them from a distance. But I feel that the Speaker, by extension, from what they say, has been very close to the Senate, Senator George Akume, and that doesn't make the governor very comfortable with him. So, and you can also remember that he had joined the House as soon as the cabinet was sacked. Obviously, that is a pointer that he don't want the governor to have new executive to form a cabinet in government. So if the House is not sitting, it means you can't screen the commissioners or the special advisors that could be nominated by the governor. So that was also a move that maybe the governor didn't like. And cumulatively, that made him to feel that it was not working for him, so he has to ask him to go.
He has to go. Now, Oga, we are in the eve of the 2019 general elections, and all of these permutations, are coming to the fore. What do you think our politicians are up to?
Well, our politicians are up to politics. That's how to put it, yeah. Politics is all about interest and intrigues. So that's exactly what they are doing. If you read the book titled My Vision, written by the ruler of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, he said in Africa, every morning, the gazelle wakes up with the determination to outrun the smartest lion. Otherwise, it perishes. And that otherwise it perishes. It ends up in the belly of the lion. And the lion also wakes up every morning in the African continent, with the determination to outsmart the fastest running gazelle. Otherwise, it will starve. That's exactly what happens in politics. Everybody wants to outsmart the other in order to take the front seat. That's the politics you see playing out in Benue State, and it will play out in several other states.
Now, let's also look at it. A couple of hours ago, some members of the Senate, also decamped to the opposition, and some moved to the ADC, and likewise their House of Reps counterpart. What implications do you think are there for the electorate to learn from? What are those likely implications, political implications, before we move into the legal aspect of what we're talking about today?
Well, political implications that would teach electorate lessons. I don't think anything new is happening now. I mean, right from the first republic in Nigeria, I mean, these movements have been there. I read a few days ago about Awolowo and what affected his political fortunes in the Second Republic, that he allowed the likes of J.S. Tucker, who is from Benue, where the first governor in this dispensation has defected, that for allowing people like J.S. Tucker to leave his camp, right, that affected him. In in this dispensation, between 1999 and 2003 or 2007, there are a lot of movements into the PDP, ANPP governors moving into the PDP and all of that. The only governor, or one of the two governors who was elected under PPA, he moved to PDP. Two of them moved to PDP, Abia and Imo, and all of that. So all of these movements have been there. In Ondo State, Mimiko moved from Labour Party to PDP. To PDP. So no electorate should be surprised with what has happened. There's nothing new for anybody to learn. Politicians are thinking of themselves and strategizing on how to put themselves on the front burner, for their own interest, not, in the interest of anyone. So there's actually no lesson to learn there. Our election circles have a lifespan of 4 years. So at the eve of every election year, you see all of these movements. By 2022, 2023, you see the same thing. If APGA produces the president of this country by 2019, by 2022, you see that 70% of our governors in Nigeria will become members of APGA and our lawmakers. That's how we operate in Nigeria, because our political parties are not founded on any principle or ideology.
Very key. They are not founded on principles or ideology. Mr. Van de Van, the president came out to say that those that left the ruling APC, left because they are not in good terms, with their constituency, and the possibility of them coming back to the National Assembly is very, very slim. And then he wishes them well. Do you buy this position coming from the president?
Well, I don't totally agree with that position, because I have not been to all the constituencies of this vote that left. But I assume that what the chairman of APC did is that he said most of them doesn't have political value. And the president also wished them well wherever they are going to. I think that is maturity on his part, that he didn't want to go into legal implications of why they are living and then calling the Minister of Justice to start pursuing them with legal cases. It's kind of encouraging that he's trying to show that he is also one of the Democrats that is on the saddle today, so he don't want to be seen to be anti-democratic. Obviously, he was also in ACN, ANPP, and then today he's in ACP. So he has also cross-carpeted to APC, he has cross-carpeted to a lot of parties also. So he can't be holding another person to ransom for leaving his own party today, because he's in charge. Back to what my colleague here said, the lesson I feel the electorate should learn from all this is that in Nigeria we don't have ideology, as they said. What the electorate now should be doing is to vote people who are people that can give them the dividends of democracy, those who can bring resources back home, those who can actually execute projects for them to see, those who can understand what they need in each of the communities, not people who just want to sit in Abuja here and choose to fight for themselves, fight for what they know they can get from the electorate also. And when it's time for election, they all go back to deceive them. They vote and they come back to sit here and start fighting. So the most important thing, the electorate should be prepared now that we don't have professional politicians. People will have professional jobbers. people who really want to be seen, always at the corridors of power. It's not those who want to serve them. So they should vote out those who they feel they cannot deliver, and those who can deliver, they should vote them in. With this, I think we will start jumping from one political party to another. So the president was matured in saying he wished them well, and I think I wish them well also.
Yeah, back to the comments of the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole, where he said that some of the defectors have no political relevance and maybe political strength, to even win elections in their own community or wards. Do you subscribe to that comment?
No, I don't actually subscribe to that, because everybody who wins election has a value and has some followers. That is why he was able to be voted into power to come to represent the people in Abuja here. So for you to say they don't have political value, for me, is not a good thing. You are not encouraging people to stay. You are just, so tomorrow if another 20 people leaves, you will still be saying they have no political value until the last person leaves. The most important thing would have been for him to find a way of sitting down with those who are here now to address their grievances before some of them could still want to go. Because if you look at the comments, they are talking about the way the congresses were conducted in some states. They were schemed out. I don't know how it was done in some states. And it was also part of what happened in Benue. So what the national chairman is supposed to do is to quickly summon a meeting of all the state chairmen of APC, come to Abuja or wherever if you conducive for him, hold a meeting with them, and then find out those that are aggrieved, and then still hold a meeting with them, because by next month, a lot of activities will start. So if we allow this to happen, you will discover that you may be losing a lot of people if they don't still get voted in through the congresses that are just by the corner now. So the most important thing is to see a way that you can hold the people that are in now together and bring in more people, instead of saying that those who are leaving have no value or relevance to the party. So for me, I don't subscribe to that viewpoint.
All right, Max, do you think the national chairman of the APC should be losing his sleep at this moment?
No, I don't think he should. Yeah, I would defer with my brother, and I want to take him back to his state, with due respect. A man like Barnabas Gamade cannot win elections in Benue standing on his own. He won the first senatorial election riding on Gabriel Suswam's back. He won his election under the APC platform, riding on George Akume's back. And why he's following the governor now? Because he wants to enjoy the goodwill of the governor, who is an incumbent. And of course, even in Kwara, a lot of those people you see moving, they know they cannot win elections in Kwara without Bukola Saraki. So Comrade Adams Oshiomhole wasn't wrong when he said a lot of these people do not have electoral value. What he said was the gospel truth. Look, I'm a Cross-Riverian. If you take me to Kwara and Bukola Saraki endorses me, I will win an election there, even when I'm shocked, even when I'm not known there. That's how it is. Same thing in Lagos with Bola Tinubu, right? That's why you have people in Lagos who are not even Lagosians, right? Winning elections there, James Fadeke, the one who, yes, sure, he's from Kogi, right? But he is in the House of Reps representing a federal constituency in Lagos, right? That is because of the goodwill of the people he works with. So there are people like that. My brother here will agree with me that if you go to Benue, in George Akume's senatorial district, if George Akume moves to AGP tomorrow, he will deliver almost every electable position in that senatorial district.
Van de Fan, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's the truth. We cannot deny that.
Akume has a lot of
political
value in the state. In Benue, the success of your political gradation is known by the followership you have. And Akume enjoys a lot of followership, and he's someone that is openly with everybody. If you go to his house, it's filled up. Just as he said, if you go to the house of Gamade, it's always under lock and key. You hardly can see people in there, so he doesn't enjoy that followership Akume has. So, but in whatever way you look at politics, you must be able to have someone that will sponsor you to certain levels to succeed. There must be some people that have names, that once the names are around you, success will also be there. Buhari became a president because his name was an institution, and people who were tired of corruption now feel that this is the only person that has a will to do it. And you can see what is happening today. So I think if you have people like Akume in the state or the governor in the state that can make other people win election, then obviously the governor too has faith in those that he was sponsoring. That's why they won election. And in Benue, you can't do politics without Akume. It's very influential in Benue. So Gemade, well, to an extent, he doesn't enjoy the support of the grassroots, just as much as Akume did. If you go to his constituency, a lot of people complain that they don't see him there. Akume is visibly everywhere that you go to his own zone, and in the state. And he's more at home than Abuja. So people really follow him, and those who really want to win election always want to follow him till tomorrow.
Okay, back to Max.
Yes.
We're talking about the national chairman of the APC. If he should be losing sleep at this point, because he's come out to say he's not going to lose his sleep because of the people that are about to leave the party. But is there any point, where a leader should be able to make such a statement, considering the fact that politics is a game of numbers?
Well, Oshomole is an experienced person, an experienced activist, an experienced politician. For him to have navigated his way with Tony Neni as a political principality then in Edo State, for him to have navigated his way, he was not impeached, there was no threat of impeachment, with majority State House of Assembly members from PDP, for him to have had his way shows that he knows how to play the game. So Oshomole must have weighed that statement he made. Of course, once something hits you so badly, and you are asked a question at that point, you must say something. You understand? Yeah. So if you ask him today, he may not say exactly what he said yesterday in appraising this situation. But all the same, let's believe that he weighed the consequences of the statement he made. Because as a captain of a ship, if you just give in, oh look, with their movement, we are lost, we have been weakened. You weaken those who are in-house. They will leave. So as a general in the war front, you must give hope to your people. That's what Comrade Adams Oshomole, in my opinion, did.
Okay, Van der Fan, do you have a different position, or you want to subscribe to what Max just said?
Well, to an extent, yes, I agree with that, because at times these are things that happened spontaneously yesterday, but they were expecting it. And that was why it was impossible for the police to pin down Saraki. They were able to
attempt to.
They were able to get a Korimado, and Saraki, to an extension, saved the job of a Korimado also, because if they had been able to keep him in the house, obviously they might have impeached him. It's most obvious. But because he was smarter than the security agencies, he was able to evade for the second time again. Oshomole said what, as my friend here said, what if you are faced with this kind of challenges? There must be a word you will say to suit yourself and suit the other team members who may want to go. Because to an extent he's saying he knows those who can stay and he can not have a threat. He knows those that can stay and he can win election. And those that left, he felt that even without them, the party can still forge ahead. So it was an encouragement also, by extension, to those who are within the party, not to lose sleep over these ones that have gone. So I think it was also giving a general statement of faith to those who are still in the party, not to be afraid that they are not going to win elections. So I think he was right to an extent of saying that.
All right, he was right to an extent. Now let's move into the defection proper. The Senate, had the movement of about 15 senators, and 4 from Oyo State moved to the ADC, and the others were part of the PDP. Were you surprised when you heard of the movement, even though there were waves of stories coming up that there was going to be mass defection and all of that? Were you surprised when the story finally broke?
No, I wasn't surprised. Like my brother said, these things have been hanging on the air. All right, we've all been expecting them. The only surprise that came to me yesterday when I saw 15 senators, the way rumors were going round, I thought 70 or 80% of senators under the APC were going to leave yesterday to join the PDP. So I was surprised that only 15 of them left. But that they left never came to me as a surprise.
All right, Van der Fan, you have a different position, even though I know maybe you also heard of the wave of defection that was going to hit the National Assembly. We also have your brother, what was his name, Senator
Gemade,
also jumping, into the ship of the PDP. Were you surprised when all of this happened?
Well, I was not surprised because everybody was expecting this kind of a thing to happen. Because if we follow the trend of what happens before Saraki became the Senate president, it was the same trend when they left Jonathan. It was similar cards they were playing out. And at the approach of this election, it discovered that the APC came on board. And it was the same game plan they implemented then that they have done today. So nobody was surprised. The only thing is that, just as my brother said, I was expecting larger number of people. I thought they had in control with a lot of people that were going to follow them. But 15 was just an insignificant number as far as I'm concerned. And if you look at the number that left, the 3 senators from Kaduna, we all know what they've been doing. The ones from Kwara, we know what has been happening. And so 6 senators are from Kwara. And then Bauchi State also the same thing. They dropped. So if you put the 3 states together, they gave 9 senators out.
No, Bauchi 2.
Bauchi 2, fine.
There's a vacant seat.
So you see that nobody was not aware of what will happen, but the only thing was the magnitude of what will come, that nobody was. So it was a shocking thing for me, and only 15 left. So the whole noise about the whole thing wasn't worth it at all.
Now, going back to what you just said now, it was shocking that it was only, if you ask me, an intrinsically minute number of just 15 people leaving the ruling All Progressives Congress for the opposition, PDP and other parties. Now, what do you think is the likely political implication, looking ahead, the 2019 general elections? Is there going to be a likely shake-up, in what we've seen so far, in the current structure of leadership that we have? Is there going to be a likely shake-up? Like you rightly said also that this was also the build-up, that gave the APC victory in 2015. Are we likely to see a shake-up?
Well, at the national level, I doubt if we can see a shake-up because the structure of a party is mainly with the state governors. And in the context of what we have today, the governors, most of them are still with APC. I think about 25 states are still with APC, all minus 1, the Benue today. If you look at that trend of what happened that made Jonathan lose election.
I hope you are not counting Kwara as still an APC state.
I am counting because the man has not defected. I'm counting officially. So if you look at what happened during Jonathan's period, you had about 7 governors that left, including Saraki and Sebe. 2 later came back. After denouncing, the 2 later came back. So 5 now left. And when they were moving, you can see that they enjoy a lot of followership. And the atmosphere was like people were tired with the PDP government. They were tired with it. They were not seeing results that they were expecting. But in the context of today's movement, if you ask at the national level, is the president not doing well? Certainly, yes, he's doing well in some aspects. You can't satisfy people in every other area. So in some aspects that he chooses to work very well, he's doing very well. In other areas, people may be dissatisfied with it. If you look at the war on anti-corruption, you discover that it is not selective as it was in the previous government. His own is whether you are in APC, whether you are in PDP, whether you are any other party, or whether you are a non-partisan person, once you are mentioned, you are picked and you are investigated. So people got tired of most of this and are scared that if they can pick A, then B can also go. And for the first time, we have seen 2 governors have been to jail today, and they can't stay outside to enjoy the fruit of their appeals they are going through. So that's a signal to those who are having pending cases that they don't know what will happen next. So if you look at the trend at the national level, there's no trend for the presidency because no credible candidate for now has come out in any of the political parties to say he's contesting except Atiku. And if you look at Atiku, yes, he has a lot of followership, but I don't think he has the might to say he's going to upturn the present leadership. At the state level also, if you look at the states where these people are defected, most of the governors are in control of their states. So they may have issues just at the levels where senators are going to control some local governments for their own election. But the good thing now is anybody you talk to today is not looking at the personality or the party, is looking at the individual that's contesting. They want to vote people who will not give them dividends of democracy. So defection or no defection, most of them will not come back. So I don't think it's going to have a general effect on the outcome of elections at the national level.
Now, Max Oga, yes, what's your position on this? Do you think there are going to be maybe a little shake-up?
No, there won't. All of that? No, there won't be any shake-up. The analysis by my brother is 100% correct. The 2019 presidential election will be the easiest that Muhammadu Buhari will run in his lifetime. Take it from me. Now, I said something in one of your programs here. unless a senator has the kind of clout that Ali Modu Sharif had between 1999 and 2003, that senator cannot deliver his state against the state governor. No, that's the truth. That senator cannot deliver his state against the state governor. Now, take a state like Bauchi, 2 senators left, Nazif and Misal. In as much as the governor remains in APC, these 2 senators cannot do anything. I don't think they are as powerful as George Akume and Benue. No, I don't think so. You know, so agreeing with my brother, the president is comfortable. He shouldn't lose sleep. And remember also that the PDP presidential primaries would throw up a lot of issues. Some of these people, even if they don't return to APC, they are going to support Buhari. They are going to vote for him. They are going to ask their supporters to vote for him. By the time they lose out in the PDP primaries, if you look at the caliber of people who want that party's ticket, as I stand here, I know the people that Wike will not give that party ticket to. You may be surprised that I'm saying Wike. That's the effective leader of the party today. I know people that he will not give the PDP, presidential ticket to. And some of them, even if they don't move physically, they'll throw their support somewhere. So Buhari will comfortably win the elections. Remember also that the South-South, in the South-South and the Southeast, where because someone from there ran against Buhari in 2015, Buhari's performance there was very poor. In 2019, that's not going to be the situation there. A lot of Igbos from the Southeast are going to vote for Buhari. A lot of people from the South-South, where I come from, are going to vote for Buhari. Big Cross River State, for instance, in the entire southern Nigeria, no state has appointments in this Buhari's government like Cross River State. Right? So even when the people there do not like Buhari, because of their uncles, their kinsmen, their aunties who have appointments, they want to vote. You cannot take away sentiments from politics. Even people who have not benefited, they say, oh, look, if I vote for this person who gave an appointment to my brother from Vandike or from Boko, maybe I will benefit tomorrow. You know, so such sentiments will help Buhari. You know, in the last elections, he had 5,000 votes from Enugu and all of it. It's not going to be like that by 2019.
Vandefan, do you think sentiment can deliver elections? Looking at some of the issues, if you go on social media, you see a whole lot of reactions and all of that. But
before he comes in, those who vote, those who vote are not in the social media.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going to, because if you see some of the revolutions going on the social media, you sometimes be taken aback and say, what exactly is happening in my country? But the votes are not, we are not practicing electronic voting that will say that, okay, you start voting from social media or from the internet. Do you think sentiment can deliver, the votes that a politician will require?
Well, definitely no, it can't deliver, because those who vote, as I said, are from the villages. You have the youth and women who are illiterate, who are primitive. And but the news is always there that in the air, they know who is supposed to be voted for. So even if you don't go to campaign, they know who is going to be voted for, because you don't just post things on social media and feel that I can read and then take it as a complete opinion that I should work with. And obviously those who post these things are those that don't even have the facts of what they're posting. So when you are reading, you'll be so shocked that names associated with certain postings could be doing that kind of a thing, because these are things that are not factual, but you see them on social media. So sentiments have little to do with Nigerian politics.
Now, looking at the defection also, some of the senators, do you think, like Max rightly said, but I want us to look at it from a different angle. Do you think their movement can also, create a kind of panic, despite the fact that some of the states still have the APC governors? Because if you look at it, maybe in the State House of Assembly, they also have members of the opposition, who are there. Do you think there should be some element of panic in some of the states, or what's your take on that?
Well, if you look at Nigerian politics, opposition normally don't have a way to win election unless when general atmosphere shows that everybody wants to change. In the context of what we have today, everybody is not tired of APC yet. So defection may not really affect the outcome of election in most of these states. Because if you go to a place like Benue, yes, defections are there. The governor has left, and then the senator has left. But when you sit down to look at how they came into the party, it was the same Akume that brought them 2 days to the closure of primaries. And they gave them the tickets. And they had no single structure in APC.
Not at all.
They still went ahead and won election because of that single Akume. And today they are all leaving to PDP. PDP are not the arrangement they have on ground with them. And PDP is not popular in most of the states, including Benue. It's only Suswam that is a strong pillar in PDP, in Tivland. And then in Idoman, you have Abba Moro and David Mark. They're the 2 strong pillars in these places. But Mark obviously is no longer interested in contesting for election at the state levels again. So he may not want to support PDP the way he did, because then he had interest, personal interest, and then the interest of his people. So if you look at defections today, they may not really have any adverse effect on the outcome of results in most of these states.
Okay, Max, do you hold the same position, or you want to take a different step?
No, I told the same position. You know, we are neighbors. I cannot go home without passing through them, so I agree with you.
Okay.
Not on the basis of sentiments, but I mean, on a serious note, his analyses are very apt.
All right, but in all of this, where is the place of the electorate? Because it's the same electorate that will go on social media and do all of the ranting. Where is the place of the electorate?
Now let me explain something to you. There's something Mr. Van does, but he didn't expatiate on it. One person, a Mr. Pius, right, can have 20 Facebook accounts, 20 Instagram accounts, 20 Twitter accounts, right? And he writes different things. So if you are not conscious enough, you think that, oh, look, the entire people from Benue, this is the position they have taken. Meanwhile, that is one person
doing all of the
trading with all of those names. So let's not rely too much on what happens in the social media, right? Let's not rely too much on that. Now, for the electorate, moving forward, I want to stand on what Mr. Van put on the table, that they should look at the pedigree of people they want to vote for, those who will deliver the dividends of democracy, those who will deliver the goods to the way house, right? Let's stop looking at these parties. Yes, it is the parties that are voted for, not the individuals, going by the decision of the Supreme Court in Amici and Omeya, right? But we must look at the pedigree of the person who is going to occupy that office that votes are cast for, right? You know, if we keep looking at these parties and if we keep if we feel that politicians will be as righteous as angels, then we'll get it wrong. Every member of the electorate must expect the worst, right, from our politicians. If your expectations are too much and you are disappointed, you'll feel terribly bad. But if you don't expect too much, no disappointment will throw you out of balance. No disappointment will throw you off balance. Do you understand? You know, so the politicians, once they get there, they don't depend on the electorate to take their decisions. I am yet to have anyone tell me that Barnabas Gamade went back to the senatorial district he represents to ask of the people's opinion whether or not he should move. Saraki went to Kwara. You should be aware of that.
Yeah, sure.
He went to talk with his people, and they said, look, we are waiting. So he has the consent of his people. How many other people did that? Did you understand? Sure. How many other people did that? A lot of these people are just Facebook politicians. They are people who won election by law. And they feel that they have become principalities. No, you cannot remain in Abuja and be a principality. My brother said something very important here. And that would be my personal takeaway from here. He said George Akume is more at home than in Abuja. And he said whenever you go to his house, the doors are open. That's what a politician should be. That's how a politician should be. If you must have the people behind you. That's what kept the people of Kwara behind Olusola Saraki. And I think his son picked it up from there. That's what kept Baba Dedibu in Ibadan. Going. Right? You cannot be elitist. If you remember, in the 2014 governorship election in Ekiti, one of the problems the people have with Fahimi was that it was too elitist. You must come down to the people. The people who cast the votes are local people. So you must reduce yourself to their level. You must accommodate them. Even when you don't give them money, merely taking their calls and responding to their text messages can make a whole lot of difference.
Yeah.
No, that's the truth.
All right, Max, before we move to the legal implication of all of this.
That is my forte.
Yeah. Before we move to the legal implication of all of this, let's look at politics of ideology and politics of personal interest. Where should the politician draw the line?
Well, the politicians are only interested in what they get. There's no ideology here. Now, if Babangida had not destroyed a structure that he himself put in place, the two-party system, I'm sure would have been able to develop some form of ideology. If you are a leftist, you go to SDP, then. If you are a rightist, you go to, NRC and all of that. But the same person who envisioned these things, destroyed them. Right now with close to 100 political parties, what ideology are you going to talk about? Of course, the foundational political parties, the Alliance of Democracy, All People's Party, which became All Nigerian People's Party, and the PDP, all of their constitutions were written by one man, James Ajibola Ige, SAN.
It's painful.
Right? So the same ideology. You know, Ige, at a point, he was in APP. When people like Aton Zeribe came in, he said, no, I cannot be in the same political party with Aton Zeribe. That's how they moved and founded the AD. So he wrote the constitution of after he had written the one of PDP. Because he moved from PDP to APP. He wanted saner people in the political party he would belong to. But it didn't work. Now, still on the issue of ideology, if Buhari had not shifted ground in 2015 to romance with people like Tinubu, Buhari will not be president today. You know, so even if, as a person, if you say, look, I want to hold on to this ideology, then you just be there theorizing. You will not win an election. On a good day, as at 2003, it has come to be corrected, I doubt if Buhari will have anything to do with a man like Tinubu. I doubt if Buhari would have had anything to do with a lot of people that he later, cooperated with, just for him to get to where he is. Remember that in 2011, Mohamed Abacha won the CPC governorship ticket in Kano. Buhari said no, that Mohamed Abacha is not righteous enough in code now to fly the party of his ticket. That's how they took that ticket from Mohamed Abacha a few days to the elections and gave to Jafar Risa now in retired military somebody, and the person lost the elections. The same thing happened in Katsina, his own state, with Senator Lado. Right? Once Buhari sensed that you had a question mark, he will not want to do anything with you. But approaching the 2015 elections, the reality dawned on him. He had to compromise. Right? He had to compromise. That's why I tell people, sir, with respect, I said, there is little Buhari can do against people like Rotimi Amaechi. If you like, write 1 million petitions. He knows what they contributed to his elections. So after him, another person can come and torchlight these people. Permit me to use that word. Yeah, but he cannot do it. You cannot have someone's bread in your mouth and you are able to speak against that person.
Yeah. All right, James, let's also look at it along that line. Is it right for us to say that it will be very difficult for us as a nation to have politicians with ideology? Is it right for us to say, riding on what Oga just proceeded?
Well, it is not right that we may not have politicians who have ideologies, but it is difficult to have them. It's difficult because if you talk to politicians and you ask them why they want to contest, they are not contesting because they want to move away from the left to the right or to stay in the center. They are contesting because it has been zoned, maybe to their part, or it has been, they have an opportunity or someone wants them to contest, can assist them to win. Now, you don't get to positions of that nature by not preparing, and that is why when people get elected in these offices, you see that results are no longer forthcoming because one, you were not prepared for the office you were going in, and two, you didn't plan for what you will do if you win, and then thirdly, how do you intend approaching the things you intend doing? All these things are not there. So politicians in Nigeria really have a challenge. Unless the political parties themselves now will sit down to start training their members who wants to contest elections on what the ideology of a party is. If you ask most of the politicians today who are in APC that what are the main bulletproof points of APC to give service to the community, they don't know. If you ask them what is the focal point of APC as a party, most of them don't know. So when you have people who don't even know the blueprint of a party and the main stake of a party in giving resources back to the society, it becomes difficult for you to give out what you don't have at all. So you can hardly have an ideological person in Nigeria today when it comes to the issue of political party. He made mention of parties close to 100. Why would we be having that number of political parties in Nigeria? They did the election in Ekiti State, and we had over 36 people that contested for governorship election. Some people were scoring 3 votes. Now, if you know that you are contesting and then your chances are so bad like that, why would you still go ahead to waste the resources of the federal government, the time of the federal government to contest election? Just because you want to be called honorable. Are you honorable in that context? You're not. Because you know that you don't stand a chance of winning even 1 ward. And then you contest election at the end of the day. One polling unit. Yes, one polling unit. At the end of the day, you are scoring 3 votes as a governor. It's very embarrassing. And then you still go ahead and will queue up.
Is it not good to try?
They look at,
Is it not good to try?
It's not good to try. Because it's always better for you to look at someone with similar ideologies with you and support that person.
But what if the person that is having that 3 vote has a lot of ideas to push forward?
Well, if you have ideas, but you know that your ideas are not sold to the people properly. At least when I'm talking to you, I should know that I'm communicating. If I'm not communicating, I shouldn't be wasting my time talking to you. So when you know you are campaigning and the acceptability is not there, Nigerians have gone beyond where they can be afraid of those who are contesting the election. They tell you in the face, I am contesting. So when I go out, I know the kind of things they ask me. And most of these politicians will not want to tell the electorate how much they earn. And then when you look at the projects that they say they go home to do, nobody wants to go to a community and sit down and ask that in this community, I am going to now submit a list of contracts to ministries. What do you really need in your community here? They don't do this.
They don't.
So you just stay in Abuja and decide that, okay, motorcycles. You buy motorcycles, instead of going to do a borehole, you take motorcycles to go and give 10 people. And then you claim you bought them from your money, from your pocket. Then you, instead of giving them a clinic, you go home and say, okay, let me do a borehole, a hand pump borehole of 350,000 naira. And then instead of giving them water where they need water, you don't give. Instead of giving them a clinic where they need it, you don't give. You just sit and decide what you feel should be done. That is not the essence of representation. That is why I'm saying we don't have ideological politicians. Unless we have people who can go back to these societies and ask them, what do you want in this place? If it is a thing that you can bring an NGO to support them with such a kind of projects, why not go with the same NGO, sit down with the communities and ask, the contribution you are going to make is 10%. I am going to make the 10%. But select a project among 3. Which one do you want in this village? The youth should stay here, the women should be here, the elders should be here. You, the elders, these are 3 projects, right there, according to the way you want it done. So if you have these 3 groups coming together to agree that what we need is water, then give them water. If they say it's hospital, give them hospital. But the idea you stay somewhere and decide for like 100,000 people that, okay, they need 10 motorcycles. For me, it's their robbery. It's not worth dying for to go and vote for people who cannot really come back and talk to you after winning elections. So as far as I'm concerned, we don't have people with principles, people with ideologies who really want to serve. It's people that just want to be noticed. As soon as you are voted, you can't take calls. You can't call them and they pick your call. Even as big as you could be. You want to give an idea to them, they will tell you, no, I don't need this. So for me, unless we go back and the electorate are now going to choose those they feel they can be accessible to. If not, we'll continue this way, that there will be no democracy.
Are we helpless?
Before you take your next question, Mr. James, am I right?
Yeah.
Mr. James said something. He said he is contested. Now, from the things you wrote, that you can see that this is a man who has marshaled what he wants. But if he does not have money to go and give people the electorate, you'll be surprised that the same people that he has burned midnight candles trying to envision what to do for them, leave him and vote for a man without ideas who has money to buy salt and maggi for them. That's why the problem is coming from majorly. That's why money backs, as opposed to men and women of ideas always having their way. And that is the unfortunate part of our politics in this part of the world.
in all of this,
Yes.
in all of this, are we helpless? 19, 20 years down the line of our democratic life, no politicians with ideologies to bring dividends of democracy down to the downtrodden, down to the grassroots. In all of this, are we helpless, or there are better days ahead?
Well, we're not helpless, right? The system is evolving.
20 years after?
Oh, sure. The system is evolving. It would be wrong for us to compare democracy in Nigeria with democracy in America. The system in America has lasted for over 200 years.
Yes, but
Right.
I also believe that in 20 years, you should be able to have a pointer to the fact that we are making progress.
No, now let me make a point.
Yeah.
If you look at a lot of people who emerged as governors in 1999, the quality of a lot of people who emerged from the north, and you look at those who are governors today, you see that there is a remarkable difference. There's a remarkable improvement. Do you understand? If you also look at the quality of people who represented certain federal constituencies and senatorial districts as at 1999, right? And you compare that quality to the quality of today, there is an improvement, right? There are a lot of things that people did in 1999, the electorate, that they no longer do. There are people now that you just cannot go and give them motorcycles and you say you are empowering them. They will tell you that, look, instead of giving me a motorcycle, which will be a personal benefit to me, construct a borehole in my community. So if you put all of that together, you see that we are moving forward, right? We are moving away, gradually we are moving away from, permit me to say, wheelbarrow empowerment, which my friend's governor did a couple of
Monday night.
Okay, very quickly, Max. I know for the want of time, we are almost on top of the hour. Can you tell us what are the legal implications of these defections that have happened? Don't forget that we also had the same scenario in 2015 during the eve of that particular
Yes, section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, prohibits movement from one political party to the other unless where there's a division in that political party. But that law is only as good as we have it on paper. Everything now depends on the discretion of the presiding officer, right? In the Akwa Ibom State, shortly after the 2015 handing over, a member of the State House of Assembly from PDP to the APC, his seat was declared vacant. He remained outside until the lifespan of that assembly came to an end. The same thing happened in Cross River. A member of the Cross River State House of Assembly sometime last year defected to the APC. His seat was declared vacant. Then you now come to the National Assembly. There have been a lot of movements in the National Assembly from 1999. No presiding officer has declared any seat vacant. And of course, you cannot even compel them to declare such seats vacant. Professor Boroface, a senator of Ondo State extraction, defected from Labour Party to APC. The Senate president was PDP, David Mark. David Mark never declared his seat vacant, right? Joshua Darie was elected in this 8th Senate, was elected under the Labour Party, right? He defected to the APC. The Senate President Bukola Saraki did not declare his seat vacant, so he remained there, right? You go to the House of Reps, the same thing, a lot of people. You go to the same Senate, Hobu Zodima left PDP for APC. Senator John Owaneno, who is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, left PDP for APC. A certain senator in Akwa Ibom left PDP for APC. The Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, did not declare their seats vacant, right? So we cannot expect magic now that people have left or people are leaving the APC, right? You know, it will not be justice, it will not be fairness to all, it will not be fair to all, I'm sorry to say, if you now declare the seats of those who left APC right now vacant. Like the Speaker said in his ruling yesterday, the House Leader, Femi Gbadagbiamila, raised this issue before the House is today. And the Speaker said the same ruling have been given, that the issue of division is a matter of fact, that the same ruling have always been given on issues like this is the same ruling I will give today. You know, so a law only becomes active when it is enforced. So long as we are concerned in Nigeria, except Cross River and Akwa Ibom, to the best of my knowledge, we have not actually enforced Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G of the Constitution, which says you must vacate your seat if you leave the platform under which you were elected as a lawmaker, not as a governor now or as a president, as a lawmaker.
Yeah, James, let me take you up on this because of our time. What danger do you think this portends for our political space?
Well, it doesn't portend any danger anyway. I think it's one of the beauties of democracy.
Laying down the Constitution?
Yes, as far as we're concerned, because if you will say you will adopt that Constitution, we'll still go back to issue of ideology. These people cross-carpeting are those that doesn't have plans, or the ones who win elections.
And don't you think that it's wise for the presiding officer to declare their seat vacant?
Well, it is right for him to do that. But,
but
he is the presiding officer, and you are joining him to increase his numbers and then make him stronger so that he can have immunity about impeachment. The only fear I feel we should be trying to prevent now is the issue of governors graduating from governor to National Assembly. That is one fear. Because when you have a National Assembly that is made of ex-governors who are so rich and so strong, the president may become so ineffective to control them in National Assembly. So that's the only way I feel we should be trying to make sure that these things doesn't happen by legal representation. I think those of them who are lawyers should be able to come up with an issue where this is what should be retired after that. If it is ideology, you will discover that as a governor you are higher than a senator. You are controlling the whole state. And then you don't descend so low to go back and control 6 or 7 local governments as a senator. So, and then you start going back home again to disturb the sitting governor. So it will get to a point that National Assembly all will be governors. Because he raised the issue of not too young to contest, and he asked you a joking question. I hope not too young to sponsor election. So, because in here you just have to sponsor yourself, or someone supports you. But in supporting you, I don't know what it takes, because nobody has come to sponsor me except my friends. When I'm going, they raise some money for me, take fuel, take this one, take this one. So it is becoming difficult that if you say not too young to run. That would have been a very good place where you can now start nurturing younger men to grow up and take responsibilities in offices. But because money is involved, they're not too old to retire. May not want to go and give the not too young to rope. So I feel we must take a look at this. Not too old to retire and not too young to run.
And not too young to fund election.
Well, I don't know what else to say. I think at this point, I should be calling the show around. Thank you very much, Van de Van, for giving us that comic relief, to use and end the show. Max Oga, thank you very much for finding out.
Thanks for having me.
I hope that
thanks also for the privilege of letting me meet an interesting personality like this.
Thank you so much.
And my brother. Yeah. They call us Udam. We call them Munchi.
Wow.
Yes,
Munchi in Hausa means we have eaten.
No, Fulani.
Yeah. Okay, Fulani. All right, this is how much time will permit us on the show today. I hope we've been able to bring you up to speed on some of the implications of what happened in the National Assembly. Politics should be more of ideology rather than personal interest. Until we hit your screen again, same time next week, God willing. Stay out of trouble, and thanks for watching tonight's episode. I am Paris Samuel. Bye for now.
Palasa phone fall your hand this year. Kia go buy 3G or 4G smartphone or bring that your phone con join MTN and then go summon you with 100% awoof data bam on top every data bundle way you buy for the next 3 months. So drop that Palasa now. Change your levels so that you go fit enjoy fast internet on the network. We get data for everywhere for the country Nigeria. This offer day open to new and old MTN customers.
Out, I just watch TV.
Nice. Star Times, right?
Come on, man. Can you get Fox TV on Star Times? Ebony Live TV? Discovery Family? Please.
Yes, no.
We get all that and more channels safe. The Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded is the best deal.
The best?
Well, if you're paying over 10,000 naira for a cable plan, then it has to be good.
Thank you, kid. We pay 1.9.
Get the best deals on channels like Fox TV, Ebony Live TV, ST Nollywood Plus, Discovery Family, and much more with Star Times Classic Bouquet Reloaded for only 1,900 naira from September 1st to October 31st, 2018. Don't miss out on all the drama, action, and comedy on Star Times. Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Usual, I am excited today. Like AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership of the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the NDC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I'm Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC.
Jesus.
I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bielsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask his people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
You're watching People's Television, your people's preferred station, powered by you.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news analysis and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Did you know that PTV remains the best place to showcase those lovely goods and services of yours? Yes, with our visibility in 36 states of Nigeria and over 50 countries of the world, we definitely have the tallest reach. What are you waiting for? Book your adverts now. Call us with the number displayed on your screen.
Welcome to Kissing Africana. I'm your host Lilian Ogadi. Now today I have an amazing chef and a very short, interesting meal. This week again.
Yeah, this week again we have something super amazing.
Okay, last week was amazing and then this week it is super amazing. So what are we preparing this week that is super amazing?
What we have to make today is called Ikira Nicho. Now, Icho is the name for what I am.
Okay.
Then Ikira is the Ikira made from Icho. So
what is Ikira first? Is Ikira made from Icho?
The name given to
sounds like Akara.
Yes, but I don't want to use the word Akara because in my language we call it Ikira.
So Ikira Nicho?
Yes, that's to cakes made from what I am.
For innovative research-based analysis, fresh news and programs, join us on PTV, the People's Oriented Station, transmitting on Star Times Channel 120, showing across 36 states in Nigeria, and Channel 77 on Strong Decoder across 52 countries. Yes, you asked for it. Now you have the best of television. You can also follow us on our social media platforms showing on your screen. People's Television, powered by you.
Usual, I am excited today. Like, AY has done a whole lot for people. I'm not just his baby mama, I am his manager. And we all know that Wizkid had a number, he had numbers of baby mamas. And
he said you don't need some leaders of the National Assembly.
The worst form of democracy is said to be better than the best form of military regime.
We are trying to build political blocks.
Just days after he defected from your party, I believe is the politics taken too far.
Members of the new board of Police Service Commission.
You know, that's also the fact that his seat should be declared vacant because we have some states that have experienced, you know, some level of insecurity.
The headship or the leadership on the Senate or the House of Representatives.
But I have gone beyond that now, beyond partisanship.
I don't think a lot of you know the crisis in the ABC.
We know that the people of the country are getting more information about what is happening to us.
With what you know about the person, you can go ask yourself.
But one of the things I've come to observe is that
I be Agberu. That made me like this Agberu.
He don't need PVC.
Eh?
He don't need PVC.
Jesus.
I was trying to convince him.
News emerged that Jones Abiri, a Bayelsa-based journalist, is out on bail.
And there's nothing, of course, that makes them to have this guy.
As a citizen, first of all, every citizen has the right. What is happening in the society, what is happening everywhere around him.
From that day, Saraki knew that he was a madman in the APC.
He should ask these people who leaked the information. That is his business.
This is not the first time JSS was taking over the National Assembly.
It may be extremely very difficult to remove a Senate president.
But the question is the viability of most of these 91 political parties.
Of course, you can't prosecute without investigation.
It will be easier for you to have those people with the like minds to join you.
soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
Soldiers helping Nigerian forces fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
Executive order should comply with the law.
I personally dissociate myself completely. Personally.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world with real-time notifications. Just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search PTV Nigeria, download, it's free, it's easy. Now you can catch up with the latest news.
Saraki finally joins presidential race. APC dumps direct primaries. Journalists protest against alleged impunity. Hello there and welcome to PTV Tonight. I am Lilian Ogazi.
It was not totally expected, but not many Nigerians will expect him to declare his intention.
Senate President Bukola Saraki has declared his intention to run for the presidency on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in the 2019 election. He made the declaration in Abuja at a dialogue with youth and young aspirants. Saraki's declaration of intent comes after weeks of speculations and nationwide consultation with PDP leaders. Emmanuel Hijana reports.
It was not totally expected, but not many Nigerians will expect him to declare his intention at a gathering of young political aspirants. That was exactly what the Senate President Bukola Saraki did when he met those he described as his #1 constituency.
The time is now to come together to stimulate growth in Nigeria, especially in the national economy. The choice we face in the forthcoming election is either to keep things as they are or make a radical departure from the old ways. To find a better way of doing things or keep repeating the mistakes of the past. To fix the problems or keep compounding the problems. It is with all this in mind and taking account of the challenges that I have outlined, I have decided to answer the call of TVU who have asked me to run for president. I hereby announce my intention to run for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the coming elections of 2019 on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. I do this with a firm conviction that I have the case to secure inclusive growth for Nigeria and Nigerians.
Saraki says he is going to use his experience garnered as an executive and a parliamentarian to direct the affairs of the country. He argued that youth empowerment, job creation and fighting insecurity and corruption will form part of his agenda.
I am determined to grow Nigeria out of poverty. We will stimulate the growth of SMEs, energize the economy and create wealth for the youth. I want to see the youth play a major role in all our levels, not only in government, but also in the private sector and every life of Nigeria. There will be a government driven by youthful energy, innovation, and a pioneering entrepreneurial spirit. Nigeria is going to be given all the opportunities to realize the potential full within the national framework that guarantees inclusiveness. For youth, you have ideas, you have capacity, you can do many. We will make sure that there is the opportunity for you to achieve this goal.
Some of the people who witnessed the shock declaration admitted that it was unexpected. They, however, believe Saraki has the capacity to lead the country. With the declaration of intent by the Senate President, it means that the race for the PDP ticket will be tougher. But Saraki does not seem to be bothered with the task at hand. Emmanuel Hijine, PTV News, Abuja.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar on Thursday said he would not defect from the People's Democratic Party even if he failed to secure the party's presidential ticket. Atiku stated this in Minna while addressing party supporters at the PDP headquarters. He, however, expressed optimism of winning the party's presidential ticket if a level playing ground was provided. Abubakar also called on the PDP leadership to demonstrate high sense of political maturity in conducting free, fair and transparent presidential primaries. He revealed that all the presidential aspirants have met with the National Working Committee of the party, where the latter signed an affirmation to support whoever emerges as the party flag bearer. One of the presidential aspirants in the People's Democratic Party has said he will prioritize national security if voted into office come 2019. Sule Lamido made this vow at an interactive session with PDP members in Benue State. Moving on now, the All Progressive Congress is to use indirect primaries to choose its candidates for all elective positions aside from the presidency. This was the consensus arrived at the party's National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja. APC added that any states that intend to use the direct primary option for their primaries have to apply to the national leadership of the party with a resolution signed by party stakeholders. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong disclosed this to address journalists after the meeting in company of his Kogi State counterpart Yahaya Bello. Lalong also said the meeting failed to agree on the sequence of election of its primaries and referred the issue to the National Working Committee to decide on the matter. Party politics, President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier insisted that his ruling party remains on course despite the defection of some high-profile politicians a few weeks ago. The president said this at the NEC meeting in Abuja. He also frowned at the attitude of some of the defectors.
The APC Secretariat is once again playing host to the president. Unlike any other ruling party, the president's presence at the party secretariat is quite significant in so many ways. And in the midst of current happening in the party fold, the president is demanding a free and fair primary election.
Any political party, once it's sold, must get its internal dynamics right and march as a team towards a decisive time at that of major elections in the country. Today, we are meeting to look at some major decisions that will get us nearly for an excellent performance at the polls next year. Starting with party primaries at various levels, I urge you all to ensure that decisions taken here today are those that will avail the good of the party and ones that meet the yearnings and expectations of our teaming members and supporters nationwide.
After making his plea, the president went ahead to react to the recent gale of defection in the country.
But due to yeoman's work by the newly party leadership, the exit barely made a dent in our superstructure, as they could not master the figures they had envisaged to cause an upset, particularly in the two chambers of the National Assembly. APC remains in control and increases by the day. With quality joining people in our fold, I say congratulations to the new NEC members. Hope is rekindled in our hearts.
APC Chairman Adams Shomole is next to speak.
At those meetings, Mr. President, we reassure everyone that if there are issues, there will always be issues in any human organization. And for a party that is democratic, such as ours, there is bound to be contestations, disagreements, and agreements. The important thing is that we must have capacity to see through and manage through conflict. I'm happy to be able to report to you, Mr. President, and to our people that as a result of those engagements, many senators renewed confidence in our party, and many members of the House of Representatives renewed confidence in our party. But those who were determined to leave.
One notable absentee at the party's gathering is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara.
Many young politicians aspiring for political offices are accusing the old order of muscling them out of the 2019 election. Now, this is in spite of the Not Too Young to Run Act that they had hoped would soften the grounds for them. It is against the backdrop that the Not Too Young to Run coalition facilitated an interactive session with the leadership of the opposition People's Democratic Party.
Today, that political parties have taken leadership to reduce the cost for party nomination forms, but to also recognize that even though the People's Democratic Party actually took a bold step and made reference to Not Too Young to Run, the sale of your form, the Nigerian youth do appreciate that. We recognize that. We appreciate that. But then again, we believe you can do more because paying 1.5 million naira for House of Reps form, it's a bit on the high side. And let me use this opportunity on behalf of Nigerian youths to call on the party leadership that whatever you can do to reduce the cost of nomination forms for aspirants, please use your positions to do so. The second is about ensuring that the party or the candidate selection processes are transparent and they are open so that it doesn't constitute a threat to the aspirations of young people. What we are beginning to see is that most of the parties have ensured that the party primaries are not democratic, even from the design of the guidelines of the party. And this, to a great extent, threatens the aspirations of young people.
The first committee that was set up after we lost the election, the Koramadu Committee, there was a national conference, there was the Constitutional Review Conference, which I was a member of, that was set up by our now chairman, then he was acting chairman. So we have reformed ourselves, and some of us have been part of this process. But when I decided to aspire in my local government, there were questions. Where is this young man coming from? Does he deserve to be here? Does he have the kind of money it takes to vie for an office?
It's expected that our youths must know the history of our country, and then the history will guide. No leader that ever becomes great without history, so you must have that history behind you. We came into the office in December last year. So far, so good. We've rebranded the party. The party is now the party of choice for Nigerians. And 3 arrows to rebrand the party, to rebuild, reposition, and regain. Today is the party that is in control, whether they like it or not, at the National Assembly. You must be grateful, the youth, you must be grateful to the National Assembly. They recognize your importance in the society, and that was why they quickly, with speed, approved that bill, not too young to run. It is an important bill in the history of our country, and that was the beginning of the advocacy for the young people. You have started well, and you are going to be very successful. You will do better than when we were youths. You will do better than us, and we're looking forward that you are going to take over.
The National Broadcasting Commission is demanding that all broadcast outfits have to abide by the nation's broadcasting code. This, it says, will enact national unity despite Nigerians' cultural and religious diversity. NBC's Director General Ishaq Modibo made the call at the 4th NBC's annual lecture on Thursday in Abuja. Emmanuel Bagudu has the details.
The planning for this year's annual lecture commenced a few months ago. We looked at the main current national discourse before settling on the topic for this year's gathering. When the time came to nominate a guest lecturer, we zeroed in on my uncle, Professor Benga. As I expected, it didn't take me too long to convince him to accept our invitation. The topic for this year's annual lecture is Broadcasting Nigeria's Ethno-Cultural and Religious Divide, Bridging the Gap. While radical scholars often argue that the basic contradictions in the society must be located in its base at the level of the subsoil of political economy, the secondary contradictions at the levels of consciousness can often be the most vicious terrains of battle.
He should be represented by me, and I should be taking all the blames from the speech and rendering, but all other kudos should go to the Honorable Minister. Thank you. So this lecture, being the 4th in the series, is one of the strategic plans the National Broadcasting Commission has adopted to cultivate and build a relationship with its stakeholders and the Nigerian public.
The National Broadcasting Commission has indeed gone a long way from an industry that was solely controlled by the two monopolies. The industry has grown in leaps and bounds. The National Broadcasting Commission has since its inception midwife and survived the growth of the broadcasting industry in the most constructive manner. Today, we have perhaps the most vibrant broadcasting industry in Africa, with over 700 broadcast stations. This has impacted in providing economic opportunities, both an employment and engagement of many young people in the creative industry. Advertising potentials have increased over the years, as well as exponential increase in the diversity of pluralism of entertainment and information.
Some journalists in Abuja on Thursday staged a protest against what they say is the reign of impunity against their colleagues. They claim that media practitioners are constantly harassed and intimidated in the line of duty. The protesting journalists also had harsh words for media outfits who have a habit of owning their staff. Emmanuel Hijana reports.
These are journalists protesting what they claim are injustice meted out toward the journalism practice in the country. They say they are often been at the receiving end of unfriendly situations. These journalists claim that some of their colleagues have spent time in jail, in some cases brutalized, while carrying out their duties. But they now say enough is enough.
The government has been clamping down on the activities of journalists. For example, there is just recently, journalists from Premium Times were arrested and sent to the court because they wanted to get the source of their information, which is not right. According to the Socratic law of journalism, you do not, under any circumstance, disclose your source of information. So this is part of, then even at, I think, Oyo State, a media house was shut down, was demolished. I mean, that is an impunity. They are not allowing this, it's as if the environment is not conducive for us to practice, and we will not take it. We are saying enough is enough.
In June 2016, Moses John was picked from a beer parlor. He saw policemen trying to close down a shop and he went to do his job. He was beaten up, arrested and locked up for 24 hours. That is in June 2016. In October 2017, an army captain assaulted a photographer with Daily Trust, Ikechukwu Ibe, for covering one of the activities of the task force. His equipment was smashed, he was beaten, his clothes were shredded, and he was thrown into a van and taken to a police station until we intervened. In 2017, Charles Otu, of People's Conscience, was kidnapped and assaulted by party thugs. What we are saying is, it is not just security men that are assaulting journalists. Everybody seems to have something against the journalists, and we really cannot take it anymore. In June 2018, the managing editor of Daily Times, Bonaventure Mela, was beaten, his equipment was smashed by vehicle inspection officers. And I'm like, when did vehicle inspection officers also become a law unto themselves that they are beating up journalists? Who was doing his job? He was covering they were having an activity around a traffic light, and he went there to cover it, and they beat him up and smashed his equipment. We are saying enough is enough.
They also used the opportunity to decry the trend of unpaid wages in many media houses. The journalists reeled out names of members who are falling victim.
People practicing journalism in Nigeria have been suffering a lot of things, from the government to our employers, the owners of media houses, For those working, most media houses do not pay, and that is an impunity, because journalists also, they are also part of the society. They are also mothers and fathers practicing this profession, so they need money to take care of their family, despite the work they are doing.
The crimes against the Nigerian journalists has been consistent and sustained. And as we are heading towards the 2019 election, the Nigerian journalist is concerned about his safety, his security, and importantly, his welfare. If I would take it simply, the greatest crime being committed against Nigerian journalists today is the fact that 90% of journalists in the private sector are not being paid any type of salary at all. We have journalists who have worked for 24 months, 18 months, 16 months, who have not earned a single penny. That is the greatest crime anybody can commit against a human being. We are saying enough of that enslavement.
Some activists also joined the journalists in urging the authorities to step in and stop the harassment and killings of journalists.
When Section 22 of the Constitution imposes a duty on the journalists to hold all these members of government accountable to the ordinary people, it is a constitutional duty. Unfortunately, those of them that also have the constitutional duty to be president, to be judges, to be members of the National Assembly, those constitutional duties are paid for. But who pays the journalist for the constitutional duty that he has? The journalist is not paid, and then he is also exposed to all forms of dangers. So, from 1986, when Dele Giwa was killed, it has been the order of the day to shoot at journalists, to imprison them, to incarcerate them. It cannot happen.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. You must appreciate that if a country is intends to develop, it starts with a journalist. The doctor has a privilege. It is stated in the Freedom of Information Act that the doctor's privilege is there, the lawyer's privilege is there, also the journalist's privilege is there. Who is afraid of a journalist? Who is afraid of truth? It is the duty of the journalist to expose truth, to expose corruption. So if you are incarcerating, putting journalists in prison, if you are failing to take care of journalists' welfare, it means that you are against our democracy, and this is time for citizens to rise up to say no. Government cannot derail our democracy, and our right to free speech is guaranteed with the freedom of journalists, and with the security of journalists, and with the safety of journalists. And we demand it today, and it has come to stay.
Although the authorities have often maintained that journalists are free to practice within the ambits of the law, NUJ is insisting on demanding a stop to the harassment and intimidation of its members. Emmanuel Ejine, PTV News, Abuja.
The Benue State House of Assembly has again defied court orders to sit within the premises of the government house in Makurdi. A High Court presided over by Justice Teresa Igoche has barred the two factions from sitting pending when all issues are resolved. But the lawmakers loyal to Governor Samuel Otom did not only sit, they also screened nominees for government positions. Taava Kume has more in this report presented from our studios.
It is the second time these lawmakers are sitting in defiance of a valid court order.
Right Honorable Yana Jato will be the
On this day, the state legislators converged at the Old Banquet Hall of Government House to screen the governor's nominee for the chairmanship of Board of Internal Revenue Service. Several poses ranging from how the nominee intends carrying out his tax to his perception on multiple taxation were raised.
Governor's nominee, Mr. Tezungwe Asi, briefly stand up to tell the House who he is. My application, I'm saying that we need to know your resume, even though we have your details before us. Maybe in the space of 5-10 minutes, tell us who you are. Tell us why you think you are worthy to occupy this exalted position. Chairman, Benue State Board of Internal Revenue is a sensitive position. Anything that has to do with the finances of the state, the internally generated revenue of the state. Anybody who is deemed fit to occupy such a position.
There is a house there to your hearing. I intend to build a modern tax administration there. And the fact is, when you build a modern tax administration, it will runs seamlessly. It runs on its own automatically. Revenue, you don't need to go and pursue revenue. Revenue will come in once you have the routines in place. One thing I intend to do first and foremost is to create a taxpayer register that will capture all the taxpayers in Benue State according to the revenue surpayers.
The lawmakers also screened the governor's nominee for the position of Auditor General and also passed the supplementary budget.
The Benue State Supplementary Financing and Appropriation Bill 2018, having been read the third time, is hereby passed.
The House has since adjourned to reconvene on Wednesday, September 5th. That is one day after the court is expected to deliver a ruling on the leadership crisis in the State Assembly.
A cross-section of religious leaders have affirmed their commitment to fighting poverty and gender inequality in the country. The leaders made this known in an inter-religious meeting organized by the African Center for Leadership Strategy and Development in Abuja. Emmanuel Bagudu has the details.
Nigeria has in recent times been said to be the country with the highest number of very poor people. It is against the backdrop that religious leaders have converged here to deliberate on the way out. This, according to the organizers, is because they are the best people to use to confront the social menace.
At local, national, and international levels, the movement partners together wherever possible to work towards gender justice, where everyone is valued equally and able to share equitably in the distribution of power, knowledge, and resources.
Having gained insight into the purpose of the gathering, it's now time for religious leaders to speak on the issue on ground.
Because all we want to make in this country is peace. If there's no peace, country will not go. There has to be peace. There is no roadmap. You see how we move this country forward. Especially this period, you have this primary election coming. That if Muslims and Christians should rub mind together, I think we are not going to have problem in this country.
But I believe side by side is a movement that comes from the heart of God. Because anything that borders on oppression touches God. Anything that borders on inequality and injustice, it touches the heart of God. And I believe the Christian community in the Federal Capital Territory that I represent will toe the line of this movement, side-by-side movement, to ensure gender justice and gender equality. We're throwing in our hats and we're ready to run with a vision.
The women group were not left out.
To collaborate and partner with anybody who is looking at the issue objectively with the view to moving us forward. I therefore wish the forum a fruitful deliberation and believe that we are taking the right step to addressing some of the issues.
The participants also pledged to remain committed to ending poverty and injustice in Nigeria. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
The remains of a 27-year-old man alleged to have been killed and buried by his close friends has been exhumed by the police in Edo State. The police identified the victim as Moses Ikiri and said he was lured by the suspect to a forest where he was killed and buried in a shallow grave. PTV's Kingsley Eben has more details in this report as presented from our studios. That report will be brought to you much later. Now moving on, the Nigerian Army authorities have vowed to deal with soldiers who recently shot in the air and protest in Maiduguri. The soldiers were protesting what they said was an unjust deployment to Ma, also in Borno State. But speaking at an interactive session with media executive in Abuja, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Tukuburatai insists that the Army would not condone indiscipline. He described the deployment as routine, adding that all soldiers involved in military operations were moved around the same time. Buratai would, however, not mention the numbers of soldiers that would be subjected to the disciplinary action for the Maiduguri airport protest. Still Nigerian insurgency in a related development, the Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Martins Babale, says Boko Haram is not occupying any part of the state. He, however, conceded that the herders-farmers crisis is taking its toll on the state. The Adamawa Deputy Governor added that many of the people in internally displaced persons camps were victims of the crisis, which he blamed on economic situation. He also praised the army for ensuring that Adamawa is free of terrorist activities. The UN has renewed its support to continuous quest for stability, recovery and resilience in the Lake Chad Basin to put it on the path to sustainable development. UN President and Humanitarian Coordinator and UNDP Resident Representative in Nigeria, Edward Kalon, said this on Thursday in Abuja. He said the resilience of the insurgent Boko Haram group in the Lake Chad Basin since 2009 poses enormous security, humanitarian and governmental challenges. 4 countries caught up in the insurgency are Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria. UN said the Boko Haram had displaced nearly 2.4 million people in the Lake Chad sub-region alone. Moving over to Nigeria economy, equity trading on the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed for the second consecutive day on a downward trend, with the all-share index dropping by 0.77%. It shared 272.27 points or 0.77% on Thursday to close at 35,086.67 against 35,558.94 on Wednesday. Also, the market's capitalization shared 99 billion naira to close at 12.809 trillion naira, in contrast with 12.908 trillion naira achieved the previous day. An analysis of the price movement cards indicated that 29 stocks recorded price depreciation, while 16 stocks posted price appreciation. Lafarge Wapco, one of the blue chips on NSE, led the losers table with a loss of 1.8 naira to close at 223.7 naira per share. On the other hand, Guinness recorded the highest gain, leading the gainers table with 5 naira to close at 95 naira per share. The United Bank for Africa emerged to investors' delight, trading 57.12 million shares worth 452.23 million naira. In all, investors bought and sold 284.59 million shares valued at 3.4 billion naira in 3,303 deals, representing a decrease of 17.52%. This was in contrast with a total of 345.57 million shares worth 2.27 billion naira achieved in 3,261 deals. You're watching PTV Tonight. Keep up with the news by downloading our app PTV Nigeria on Android and iOS. You can also watch us and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at PTVNG. Now, still ahead, military detained soldiers for beating up lawmakers and journalists. We're going to a quick break. When we return, more news will come your way. Please stay.
soldiers helping Nigerian soldiers fight Boko Haram.
We will have to persuade Nigerian legislatures.
This is coming together of people who are confused.
executive order should comply with the law. I personally dissociate myself completely.
From this interview, because you have said
there had hardly been any administration.
No religious body in Nigeria validate the claims by the INEC chairman. It is.
You're welcome back. And now straight to the foreign scene. Kenya and Britain have signed an agreement to repatriate proceeds of crime and corruption stashed away in Britain's jurisdiction. The agreement was signed during the meeting between Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and visiting British Prime Minister Theresa May in Nairobi. Speaking at a joint news conference in Nairobi, Kenyatta said there was no turning back on the war on corruption and economic crimes. For her part, the British Prime Minister said her government will also support efforts to prosecute and conclude all major corruption cases in the country. The two countries also signed agreement on renewal of security pacts between the two countries. And on bilateral ties, President Xi Jinping of China on Thursday held talks with Sierra Leonean President Julius Maada Bio in Beijing. At the end of the meeting, the two leaders agreed to further promote the comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership between the two countries. Bio said in a state visit to China and will attend the upcoming 2018 Beijing Summit of the Forum on the China-Africa Cooperation. She said since the establishment of diplomatic relations 47 years ago, China and Sierra Leone have always been good friends. He hailed Bio for adhering to the ongoing China principle. Moving on to Egypt now, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt on Thursday swore in 21 new provincial governors, including the first female governor from the country's minority Christian community. Mana al-Makali has been appointed governor of the coastal city of Damietta, becoming the first ever Christian woman to hold such a position, private newspaper Al-Masari reported. Egypt has the largest Christian community in the Middle East, accounting for around 10% of the country's mostly Muslim population of 95 million. Egypt Christians have long complained of persecution and Islamist attacks. Now in Uganda, the Ugandan military on Thursday said it has detained and questioned a number of soldiers for allegedly torturing 5 lawmakers, scores of their supporters and roughing up journalists. Uganda's military spokesperson, Brigadier Richard Karame, said the soldiers were questioned for torturing lawmakers and 28 others over the alleged stoning of President Yoweri Museveni convoy on August 13th. He said other soldiers are being held for harassing journalists on August 20th while converging riots in the capital Kampala, sparked off by the arrest of the lawmakers. A group of former agents from Malaysia's Foreign Intelligence Agency have been investigated for alleged misappropriation of government funds. The probe by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission is the latest in a widening crackdown by Prime Minister Matahari Mohamad's government on corruption allegedly linked to the administration of his predecessor, Najib Razak. Earlier this week, the Anti-Graft Agency arrested 8 former officers of the Malaysian External Intelligence Organization, including the former head, on suspicion of misappropriating about $12 million in government funds. Moving on now, a Russian investigative media outlet that sent 3 journalists to the war-torn Central African Republic has announced that it was shutting down. The Investigation Control Center admitted previously that Okran Dejmal Kariobrchkeno and Alexandra Rostovegi were on a private it made no secret of its military present in the car. Russia has since opened a criminal probe and what it says is suspected murder. And now moving over to the world of sports, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has praised the Enyimba Football Club for the last-minute winner against Congolese side Cara Brazzaville on Wednesday that shot them into the quarterfinals of this year's CAF Confederation Cup. The team had needed a win in the top of the table clash to be sure of a place in the last 8, and speaking on the win, Pinnick commended the way the team approached the game. He also expressed the belief that Enyimba would go all the way and make Nigeria proud. Two-time CAF Champions League winner are the only Nigerian club side left in African soccer competitions. The draw for the quarterfinals will be held at the CAF headquarters in Cairo next Monday. Moving on now, Manchester United will face a reunion with Cristiano Ronaldo after drawing Serie A champions Juventus in the Champions League group stage. Ronaldo, who was at United between 2003 and 2009, joined Juve for £99.2 million in July after 9 years at Real Madrid. Valencia and Longroyd are the other names in Group H. Tottenham have been drawn in a tough group to face Barcelona, PSV Eindhoven and Inter Milan, last season runners-up Liverpool. For their part have Paris, Germain and Napoli to contend with. Red Star Belgrade are the other team in Group C. Former league champions Manchester City have what is on paper the easiest draw in Group F with Shakhtar Donetsk, Lyon and Hoffenheim. Last season's winners, Real Madrid, who have won the competitions for the past 3 years, are in group with Roma, Moscow and Victoria. Now, still on football, England head coach Gareth Southgate says Luke Shaw's newfound aggression and desire convinced him to recall the Manchester United defender. He's one of the defenders listed for next month's matches against Spain and Switzerland. Injury-plagued Shaw has not played for England since 2017, but the left-back has returned at the expense of Old Trafford teammate Ashley Young. Southgate has also given Adams Lallana a recall after the Liverpool midfielder was left out of the World Cup squad following an injury-plagued campaign. England's squad to face Spain on September 8th and Switzerland on September 11th. Still on football, La Liga has plans to stage matches in Mexico alongside their hopes of taking the league directly to the United States. The league has struck a 15-year deal with U.S. company Relevant to play games in America, but now they have also confirmed they have plans of taking those matches to Mexico. La Liga officials say the Spanish game has massive potential to be played outside the country and affirm that Mexico is a key destination. Mexico has close cultural links with Spain, and many of its players have played in the La Liga. And in tennis, Serena Williams has set up a third-round clash with big sister Venus at the U.S. Open on Wednesday. This was after she overpowered German Karina Withoff 6-2, 6-2. Williams sent down 13 ages and 30 winners to record her second consecutive straight-set victory at Flushing Meadows. The 6-year-old wrapped up for the win in 1 hour and 7 minutes. And next up is 30th career meeting with Venus, who beat her younger sibling in the most recent encounter at Indian Wells earlier this year. The last time the two sisters met at a Grand Slam was in 2017 Australian Open final, won by Serena in straight sets. And now in basketball, head coach of the Tigers, Otis Hugley, has declared his team's readiness for the forthcoming FIFA Basketball Women's World Cup in Spain. Hugley told the media after his team's morning training that he would not have picked the Nigerian job if he had fears of not succeeding. He asked if Team USA and other top-ranked teams are not a threat to him. The coach said he is not bothered about the big names but wants to play basic basketball paired in Group B alongside Argentina and Turkey. The current African champions will start their World Cup campaign against Australia on Saturday, 22nd of September. And that's it on PTV News tonight. On behalf of PTV News production crew, many thanks for watching. I am Lilian Ogazi.
People's Television Nigeria has gone mobile. You can now watch PTV Nigeria on the go anywhere in the world. For real-time notifications, just go to Google Play Store if you're on Android or Apple Store if you're on iOS. Search for PTV Nigeria. Download. It's free. It's easy. And now you can catch up with the latest news, analysis, and political discourse on the go. So stay connected with PTV, Nigeria's #1 online TV.
Hello there and welcome to Kizin Africana. I'm your host Lilian Ogazi. Now today I have an amazing chef and a very short, interesting meal. This week again.
Yeah, this week again we have something super amazing.
Okay, last week was amazing and then this week it is super amazing. So what are we preparing this week that is super amazing?
What we have to make